Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. We're down to the wire now, buddy.
We're down to the wire, kid, and on a live, you got it. First goal, no fuck ups.
Dude,
Congratulations, Jakey Fu. Well
done
done.
enough. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Our
Yes,
site
yes.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Look, it's exciting. It's been an exciting weekend for myself. It was my young fella's 14th birthday last week, so my apologies about the videos for the
Happy
past few
birthday, man.
days. Yeah, but we were away in England and I was having a YouTube detox. So actually, this is the
Wow.
first time I've opened up my laptop since Wednesday, I think. Yep. So he was a mascot in Wolves, so he got to walk out with all his team out onto the pitch and with all the players, and yeah. So amazing weekend, lifetime of memories done. You know. Anyway, it's race week. It's the final race week of the season. Squeaky bum time at a maximum. But I still don't know what way it's gonna go, man. I just
Oh, it's a no-brainer, pal. This is a walk
yeah,
in the park. It's gonna be
it,
Martin all day.
it is right, but it's also Barcelona turn one, right?
Oh,
Right, where we've seen fucking
oh, I'd like
skittles
to.
happen.
Yeah.
It's fucking Nakagami getting brave in his last official race as a MotoGP rider. I know he might have do some wild cards here and there, but he might forget to brake again
Yeah.
or move. Look, we've seen it over the years. Anything, absolutely anything can happen. So, you know, I was sitting having a pint actually on Friday night, and I was just like thinking to myself like, what's going to happen? And I eventually just came to the conclusion of, well, just let it be itself. Do you know what I mean? Let it be what it's going to be. Like, there's no point. But it's just, you can't count anything out there. Like, it's going to be cold. It's going to be low grip. It's going to be easy mistakes that we've seen boat riders, especially Pecco, make very, very simple and basic mistakes and cost themselves the world championship. So
Yeah. So that brings me back to Martin's gonna take the title.
yeah, but then Martin now is under, or Martin's under the most pressure that he's ever going to be in his life. You know, like I can guarantee you now, right? You couldn't fit a Visa card between the two cheeks of his arse before he starts that race.
Nope.
Like he's gonna have clenched colon all weekend, all
It's a
weekend.
debit card at most. You know what I mean?
Nothing's gonna fit. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think it is amazing. So I think we're going to be pretty privileged. Now we are live, so if you do want to ask questions, comments, belt away, we'll see them and we will answer them. But yeah, so like look, if you're a betting man, you have to bet on Martin, right? He has the points in the pocket.
The
You
odds are
know,
there.
you know, all he has to do is realistically is beat Pecco in sprint.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, if he beats Pecco in the sprint, then he'll go to, what's he on, 24 now, isn't it? It's 24
Yeah.
points. So like he'll move beyond the 25 and win it. So, but that's easier said than done. Do you know what I mean? And yes, Barcelona, and like last time we were at Barcelona, good weather. Pecco threw it away. Remember, into turn 5, I think it was,
Yeah.
downhill last lap, turned it and threw it away. So, I know. Recently he was coming out and he was saying, the Alex Marquez crash, that kind of turned his championship upside down. And I kind of disagree with him. I think he's messed around his own championship by making stupid, simple mistakes. Like, and he kind of owned up to it eventually when he was like, when I just get into one of these things or the pressure comes off, that's actually when I make the mistake, not when the pressure is on. And I
A
think
lot
it's
of guys do that. A lot of guys do that.
and you can kind
Martin
of,
said the same thing, by the way. He says, if I
yeah.
let off the pressure, if I let off the speed, I make a mistake.
Mm. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see. And there's the other battle, and probably the more dangerous one for me is Bastianini and Marc Marquez. That's a point between the two of them.
You said dangerous. I know Marc Marquez this statement was going to come out sooner. Like,
well, no, like they're gonna they have to go for it. Joe, they have to go for it. Like Bastianini came out and said, "Yeah, I'll help Pecco as long as Pecco helps me beat Marc."
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's realistically saying, no, I won't help Pecco. But no, I think those two up for it. It's going to definitely, I suppose, could definitely hinder the championship because, like, realistically, let's just put it this way: Martin's in front, Pecco's in second, Marc is in third, and Bastianini is in fourth, and they're all together, right? And Marc slips up inside Pecco, right, to take second. You could be fucking guaranteed either Pecco's going to come back at him,
Yep,
or Bastianini's coming through as well, and it's going to be a very how would I say, dangerous race in that thing, because none of them are going to want to give up. None of them at all are going to want. They all have a bit of skin in the game. They all have something out of it. Now, if third and fourth place was already decided, you could kind of say, well, they'll probably just let the two boys fucking duke it out. But now with the factor that, there's still a bit of pride there, it will be, in my view, a little bit, I suppose, more entertaining to watch. Like, I cannot wait for Friday, just to kind of get an understanding of what way the track conditions are, what's the weather. As we kind of get closer to the weekend, the weather prediction should get better. Like, the last time I looked at it was like Thursday of last week. There was like, it was okay-ish, but temperature's going to be 14, 15 degrees max, I think. So it's going to be cold for the tires. You know what I mean? The tires are actually going to be cooling down coming down the fucking straight. It's going to be that cold, So it is going to be interesting. One of the things as well about this weekend, and I'm kind of actually disappointed in it, is that, and I heard rumors last week, but I think this actually comes from Ducati, is that Andrea Iannone will not be riding this weekend. Instead, it will be Michele Pirro. And I heard it, and I was like, no, Jesus, they definitely give him the go. Like, do you know what I mean? And
they already gave him the go. Yeah, I thought they already gave him the go for that.
Yeah, they gave him the go for the last one in Malaysia.
Right.
And there was a couple of comments, I think, that may have rubbed Ducati the wrong way. And because one of them was turned around and he was like, the goal this weekend was to beat what Alvaro Bautista did. Which we did, and it was just kind of like a little bit of fuck off, like, and I thought it was funny personally myself, but I think someone in Ducati may have
didn't go over well.
And
the same way.
yeah. Now look, of course he should have beaten Bautista's lap times and stuff like that, because the tires are better and they have a year's more data and all of this good yobby stuff. But
speaking of fanboys, reading my motorcycle magazine, the Road Race and Technology.
Mm-hmm.
And a fanboy saying they were all bent because the super they call them super concessions, and these super concessions went to BMW, not a Japanese bike. That wasn't supposed to happen. They're all bent. They wanted to be changed. But
no, Japanese bikes got their super concessions.
Yeah, but it didn't work. And they're like, well, why? If it didn't help, but all it did was make BMW win. So that's not what's supposed to happen. So they're all bent.
Oh well, too bad. So sad. See you later. But my understanding though, that was a couple of years ago. And the BMW 1000 or whatever, or M1000 is completely new for last season or this season. Yeah, I think last season. So it's a completely different homologation. So anyway, it makes no major difference.
Yeah, like at least BMW did get better on their own. It wasn't all.
But yeah,
That,
look,
I mean, a lot of it was
BMW made the bike better. Well, yeah, no, like BMW, I don't think, being very honest, that BMW made such a massive step on the bike.
No, but they did make somewhat. It wasn't
BMW are in the Honda effect, right? They've hired a super alien.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
They are, because they've hired a super alien,
right?
Who's won the championship. Where's the next BMW rider in the championship? Where is he?
They don't even have good riders at BMW, though. That's the thing. It's hard to judge when they got.
Gerloff isn't that bad, right? But they're not consistent, right? And if that bike is anyway good, they're consistent. Like you look at Alex Lowe's, right?
Are better than BMW riders. I can tell you that right now.
But like, even when you looked at Alex Lowe's and Johnny Ray, right? Alex Lowe's he's a good rider. He's a great rider, actually. Don't get me wrong, please, no, right? But it's just kind of like he was never on Johnny Ray's level,
right?
On the Quack, right? On the Kawasaki, right? Yeah. And so when I'm looking at it, Alex now is kind of the front runner in Kawasaki, right? Yeah, so realistically, are you really telling me that bike is at its full potential? And I don't think it is, because Johnny Ray was consistently faster than Alex on it, right? So when I look at it, I look at it the exact same way as I look at MotoGP bikes. Let's look at the second or third riders. Where are they?
Yeah,
and you look at BMW, and you're like, okay, the bike suits Top Rack, so Top Rack is performing.
Yeah, but the secondary riders to the BMW though are not. They're not in the same level as the old KTM rider. What was his name? That went to BMW and I can't remember. XAV Xveria, whatever the hell his name is. Both of them are. Honda has good riders in World Superbike.
Vieira, yeah. But look, I suppose the point what I'm making is that, yeah, they do have good enough riders in it, but they like, we saw Bautista on the Ducati and we saw Bautista on the Honda, right? And there were two different Bautistas, right?
Yeah.
So the bike really didn't suit the Honda bike, didn't suit him, right? And it won't. But again, it's just judging it. Like, BMW got it right for Top Rack, right? Top Rack made the clear difference on that bike when you look at any other BMW rider, and that's just a fact. Unfortunately, it's a fact. And I know there'll be Anorak people out there that are saying, "Oh, but Top Rack has all the new parts and this, that, and the other," and yeah, he does, but so does his teammate, who's not performing at that level. But like this weekend,
I'd say Top Rack clipped better on the BMW than he did on the Yamaha.
Yeah, but that's that's what I was saying. Like, when you look at Bautista on the Ducati, it clicks. When you look at Bautista on the Honda, do you know what I mean? So again,
no one clicks on the Honda. It's just not that the chassis.
But yeah, I think I when I look then at BSB, Honda and Yamaha were the best two bikes out there, right? The BMWs were fucking nowhere. So, and let me tell you, like, they were not piloted by fucking slowmen. Like, do you know what I mean? One, Peter Hickman, who was a really good BSB racer, much better roads racer, but he's a really good BSB. And also Josh Brooks, who was a BSB champion. Do you know what I mean? So
they're not getting any updates. I think it's probably more or less a 2-3-year-old World Superbike.
No, they're built quite different, actually, because of the regulations, right? Because there's no electronics and all of that bullshit in it. Do you know what I mean? So it's really head, wrist, arse, and go with it. You know what I mean? So, but then, look, I suppose it just comes down to how people click with the bike, and we'll see it. Like, we'll see it this weekend. We should probably know Friday evening what way is this championship going to go by seeing how people click with the track, the weather conditions, the pressure.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to do it. Like, I wouldn't rule out someone. I would not rule out a surprise this weekend. That's genuinely, like, I think we could have a winner that we haven't had yet this season. But
Really?
genuinely think so, yeah. Like,
What's
if you look
what's
at,
the weather supposed to be? Do you have any idea?
it's supposed to be okay, but it's going to be cold. Like, do you know what I mean? It's November in Spain, and sometimes there in November, Ireland and Spain can be the same temperature, like, which is cold.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? But no, saying that was the last time I checked the weather, which was a week ago nearly. So I'm sure it's probably changed or got more accurate from there. But anyway, I think, yeah, I think that the two at the front could be riding very tight. Well, definitely one of them will be. And like, if I think though, I think if Pecco does win and Martin is back a couple of spots on Saturday, I think he's going to ride even tighter on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? So like for me, Martin needs to just come out and try and win it. But I think it's going to be. I personally think it could be someone new, or I think it's going to be a Marquez or Bastianini dominate the weekend. I think they have.
That's what I was thinking. It's gonna be new. It's gonna be bad. If it's gonna be new, I'd say it's gonna be. I'd go with Marquez.
Now, I've always said this, and I've said this all the way through, right? I want to be behind in the championship up to the last race, right?
Mhm.
So realistically, I favor Martin to win the championship. But I have this thing, right? Still, but you have like Martin is going to, I feel, is going to ride a little bit tight. He's going to be a bit nervous. Do you know what I mean? Shaky. I think he'd be very fast, but I think he'd be very nervous, and I think that could distract him. It just depends what Pecco turns up. If Pecco who turns up is like, shit, I've already got second place in it, I can't go any higher, I'm just going to go balls to the wall and forget about it, and if I crash, I crash, I have fucking 3 months off to recover. It could be very, very different. Then you would have, we'll call them Beavis and Butthead behind, Bastianini and Marquez, right? Passing each other, right? If Pecco, like, all of a sudden Martin could find himself down in 4th or 5th place. 4th or 5th in the sprint, that gives Pecco another 6 points. 4th or 5th in the race. So then it's kind of like, it's kind of
24 points in a race is one hell of a battle.
But it's not. But we've two races left. So like, if he, for example, and let's just say, for example, if he finishes 4th in first race and Pecco wins it, Pecco pulls back 5 points. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
If he finishes 4th again, it's nearly squeaky bum time. And like, let's be fair. If you're riding to a number, like we saw this in Valencia when Pecco was about to win his first title, he had to finish, what was it, 15th minimum or 13th or something, and he came in 1 or 2 places ahead of it, right? And he was like, he looked like a fucking amateur out there. Do you know what I mean? And when you're riding to that number,
I
it's
remember
very,
they thought
very
there was
hard.
something wrong with the bike. He was so slow.
Yeah. And it's like, who would be Martin's comrades around him? Like, so like, realistically, you'd have Aleix, who goes well there. Do you know what I mean? You would have maybe 2 or 3 more that would maybe not pass him if it was a thing. Whereas in a normal race, they'd be like, blood in the water. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I just think it's going to be. I think it's just going to be an epic weekend of where a real test of Martin's mentality. And like, I do know he talks with his sports psychologist every day to go through thing. And every day he talks to the sports psychologist, that just to help him with the mentality side of racing. And I think it's probably one of the jinx in his armor that of last season is like handling the pressure, dealing with the pressure, and like we saw him, when he made the mistake, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed with him when he made the mistake in Misano, how he just brushed it aside and just moved on. Do you know what I mean? Just didn't fucking let it sit there and eat at him. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because for me, it would have I would have been fucking like an antichrist. do you know what I mean? Full of fucking rage and anger, and done something stupid, made mistakes. So I think, look, like if I look back at his championship, and obviously whoever becomes champion this year, we'll do a video on it and whatnot. But I think, I just think it's just going to be his mentality has been what's helped him this season. And then I was actually looking at something. I think I screenshotted it. I just thought it was not funny, but it's kind of showing. Showing how people's seasons are and why things will end up the way things will end up, right?
Right.
So the percentage of did not finish races, okay? Joan Mir, 39%. 14 out of 36 races he's crashed or not finished. Augusto Fernandez, 10 out of 38 or 26%. Pecco Bagnaia, 8 out of 38, 21%. Marco Bezzecchi is on the same. Zarco is on the same. Alicia Spagro is on 7 out of 35. Pedro Costa, 7 out of 37. And Alex Rins is 6 out of 32, 19%. So it's kind of I just thought it was an interesting kind of fact. So when you look at,
it's amazing that Pecco is up there with 19% failure.
21%.
No, excuse me, 21%. That's just unheard of.
So that's like when you look back at the championship, and even why we find ourselves in this position for Pecco, that's your Achilles heel. It's not fucking Saturdays. It's your finishing. Do you know what I mean? If you bring that down to 50%, 10%, he's probably world champion. So
that's how they call it backing into a championship.
It doesn't make a difference, kid. You score the most points, you win the championship.
He signed for another 2 years, I heard.
Huh?
He signed for another 2 years with Honda.
They obviously give him good health care.
Yeah, actually, he's a glutton for punishment. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, look, and I said this last year though with Honda. The only way is up. The only way is up. And okay, this year we found a new level lower, but like at the start of the season, I thought they were going up, but their just development rate then just wrong direction. But I think it's pretty interesting to see what's going to happen after it in the Barcelona test as well. That happens on the Tuesday after the race, so it will be pretty interesting. I think Pedro Costa though, I just have a feeling about him this weekend that he's going to go mad. And
your boy, yeah,
I just think he's just going to go, fuck it, it's the last one. Do you know what I mean? Boom. And it's going to be it will be pretty interesting to see what happens with him.
You don't think he'll go down? His lately he's been riding over magnets and pulling his ass down.
He's been definitely riding over something, but like again, he does, in a way, I think he does need a good result. And I think it is.
But we do expect a lot from him.
We do
expect a lot, especially for a rookie. You got to remember he's a rookie.
He is, but I remember that as I went on about the piece that TNT did with him, like he gained thousands of fans after doing that. Because you saw a little bit of the inside of him, and it was just like like it's kind of the way I would actually put it is right. His missus could be all dressed up in fancy lingerie and ready for a good ride, or you give him the choice to go ride his bike. You would be probably guaranteed he'd take the bike. Do you know what I mean? And I think people like with him. The only news I have on the VR46 Riders Academy was one of the questions that we've asked. Is Rossi and Stoner, I believe, were out in Rossi's track in Trivulia yesterday, pricking around. So looks like they've made friends after many years of calling each other dickheads. But I don't have any other news on the Riders Academy, only the fact that they got rid of Andreani and One for the last round as well. Which personally, it's a bit of a pity. I like seeing the Maniac back there. I think he held his.
He did a good job. I mean, he did far better than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, it's for me. It's just like, yeah, he was I think he did well. Would like to see him on it with a bit more time. Do you know what I mean? I think he understood an awful lot from the Malaysian race. So yeah, it's a pity to see him being taken out of the race. Then I think I was actually only thinking this the other day though, right? Do you know the cold, like when we say cold, right? Like it's not freezing fucking cold that they're all shivering and whatnot, but like it's normal-ish weather, but it's cold for what the normal climate in Spain is, like 30-40 degrees. I think it'll be somewhere in the road.
I don't think they're freezing at all because they have the leathers on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like the Aprilia bike has a built-in heater, like so.
Yeah,
those riders would be fine.
Yeah, unless you shocked me the other day when you said it still had that heating problem. I just forsake that. I thought it had it fixed. Without that heat, you had heat problems, right? You're getting order. Until you get that heat straightened out, you're not developing.
Yeah, no, they're not developing. It's not that they're not developing it, but I just think they're just like, I think they were like, oh, like this has been going on since
like part and parcel of one another.
But this has been going on since.
What happens when it doesn't go away? You know,
this has been going on.
Go away, you'd figure it out.
Yeah, but I think that this has been going on, I think, since around 2018 that they've been blowing the heat up. And I think what has happened is it's always been kind of the riders that could have adapted and whatever, but I think their latest upgrades or whatever is just it's now just too intense, you know. So, but again, I just think that's maybe it's a fundamental flaw that that they're focusing too much on aero, and and they're just gone way down that track of where it's
they need some of that air for the engine, for the radiator.
Well, yeah, but they just need to find the right balance of it. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, when you look at it, it's not going to, unless they find the right balance. And I think Ducati have that balance. I think Ducati could do an awful lot more on aero, but the trade-off for that is far too much as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's like it's hard. Like, whereas you look at the side of the Aprilia and you can see it's like you can nearly see the engine bulges. Do you know what I mean? It's formed so tightly for the air on. You're just like, yeah, it's just not a good place to be in. It's they need to find a different compromise for next season. Now saying that, like, we did see Martin, because Martin does overheat. We did see him overheat. Was it 2 years ago in Malaysia? Do you know what I mean? On the Ducati. Now it was hot, like, but he did overheat. So they'll definitely need to, I don't know, get rid of it for him, because otherwise, like, it's realistically, he can ride the bike as fast as he wants, but if his core temperature goes up a couple of degrees, he's nuked. Do you know what I mean? And that is the thing. Another thing that I have
reflexes and everything else go. I always say, again with boxing, I don't care how good you are. When you get tired, you're done. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And fatigue. I think I need to research this. I shouldn't be saying this, but I think there's only been 3 riders ever that have overturned the current championship status in the last race. So
okay, yeah.
So it's happened. Very rare, but
not every day. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, not every day. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, who's going to come out with it? God only knows at this stage because of that turn 1. I think it's just going to be it's going to be that. I did read another thing there recently as well about the Yamaha and the V4. They're not actually looking for more power out of it. What they're actually how to say, what they're actually looking for is a skinnier bike that with more rear bias. The V4 will give them that. So that's where they're actually going to, and that kind of makes sense because every rear bias bike, the Michelin tires are rear biased, right? So kind of makes sense to try and overload them on the rear bias. But yeah, Jesus, I can't wait. I'm buzzing for the weekend. I'm not even going to say. I can't even predict. I don't think it'll be the top 2 boys will win. I'm feeling it's going to be someone else, and I think there's going to be a bit of drama somewhere.
No, I think the drama is going to be like you said. It's going to be Marquez and search with an E, whatever it was. Bastianini, right? And the winner's going to be Martin. Odds are. I'll tell you what. I'm not taking you to Vegas if you think like that.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Look, I just never count anything out with turn 1.
No, but I don't. And that Pecco does not do well under pressure. I think he's the.
Yeah. Look, that could be the thing too. But look, for me, I think it's going to be pretty difficult to do it. But I guess we're going to wait and see what does happen.
Fill me in. Out of the 4, one of them doesn't like Barcelona at all. Which one is it? Is it Marquez? Yeah.
Mark doesn't like it at all. Yeah. Mark doesn't like it at all. But look, it's going to be pretty interesting. I think. I can't wait actually I actually genuinely can't. But I can't pick a winner either. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, yeah, because fuck it, Mark is going for the win because even though that he doesn't like the circuit, he has to beat NEA, right? NEA is going to go for the win because he has to beat Mark. Pecco has to go for the win because he has to win. And Martin is kind of that one. Well, I can actually sit back and relax and take 2/4 or whatever it is.
Yeah, but they asked him why he didn't do that last time, and I said the same thing. I was wondering why he went fast in the last race when he could have taken it easy.
Because it wasn't the last race.
Yeah, he was all by himself and he was flying, and he says, "I can't back off or I'll make a mistake."
Yeah,
he was that adamant about that.
Yeah, but this time I don't. Sorry, that time that it happened, I don't think his arse was so clenched as it's going to be this time. Like you have to remember, right? By Sunday evening, his whole life dream could happen.
Mm-hmm.
So his sphincter is going. tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and all the way through it. But anyway, look, I would definitely love to hear people's comments below. If you're watching live, great. If you're not, do leave us know. I think we'll wrap it up there, Jackie, because I only want to talk about race week. I don't want to talk about anything else. Look, but I think we'll wrap it up there. But definitely, if you're, I'm totally excited. Totally excited. But I would definitely love to know what people are thinking. What way is it going to go? Is there going to be a drama? Who's going to win? Instead of us predicting it this week, can people predict the top 5 of the sprint and of the main race?
Ooh,
forget about it.
Yeah. A lot on them.
So the top 5
members there, buddy.
That's it. But look, we'll enjoy reading the comments after this. We'll drop out there now, Jakey Boo, and we will see everyone again shortly.
Take it easy, folks.
Peace out, and thank you for everyone joining. Appreciate it.